Hi everyone. So we'll continue memorizing from the book of Hebrews. So today we are starting with a new chapter. Yesterday we completed chapter 4. So today we are starting with chapter 5. So chapter 5 has got 14 verses. So it has mainly two parts. The first part is Jesus the high priest. So it's a continuation of what we meditated in the last part of Hebrews chapter 4. That is 4:14 to 16. And 5:1 to 10. Again it's the same continuation. And 11 to 14 is spiritual growth. So chapter 5 has got two main topics or two main themes. One is Jesus the high priest and second is the spiritual growth. So today we'll memorize Hebrews chapter 5 verse 1. So I'll read that first. Hebrews chapter 5 verse 1. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. So I'll read that again. Hebrews chapter 5 verse 1. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. So here we are continuing the same theme, that is Jesus the great high priest. So that is a central theme in the book of Hebrews. So we already meditated that in Hebrews chapter 2 verse 17. We again meditated that in Hebrews chapter 4 14 to 16. Again chapter 5 1 to 10, the same is continuing. So today we'll memorize on verse 1. So before we start, I just wanted to say one thing. In the Old Testament also we see the priest and high priest. The high priest in the Old Testament, they prefigure Christ, right? But when we see the priesthood of Jesus is on a higher plane than the Old Testament priest. So they follow the Levitical order of the priest Aaron, right? But Jesus is a new high priest according to the order of Melchizedek. So his priesthood is the perfect priesthood, or we can say that it's a higher plane compared to the priesthood that is given in the Old Testament time. So in this particular verse, in this one verse, all the characteristics of the high priest or the office of the high priest is given, right? So there are mainly 4 characteristics. The first one is, for every high priest chosen from among men. That shows the dignity of his call or the dignity of his office. Even though he is a man, he is specially chosen by God from among men. So that shows the dignity of his office. So that's the first characteristic of a high priest. The second characteristic is the purpose of his mission is for the good of mankind, right? So that is given in the second place. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. The third is the material side of his office, that is to offer public divine worship. That is one of his role. And fourth is the specific act that he must perform at appointed times, that is to offer sacrifices for sins. So that is the fourth characteristic of the office of the high priest. So these 4 characteristics are specified in the first verse. For every high priest chosen from among men. So for every high priest chosen from among men, that shows the dignity of his office. Third is his purpose of his mission is for the good of mankind, that is to act on behalf of men in relation to God. And the third is the material side of his office, that is to offer public divine worship. And fourth is the specific act that he must perform, that is to offer sacrifices at appointed times. So these are the 4 characteristics of the office of the high priest. So with this I'll conclude today's meditation. I'll read that again. Hebrews chapter 5 verse 1. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. Thank you. God bless you all.